Hello chess friend, this is FIDE Master Valeri Lilov for chessonlineinstruction.com, and today I would like to teach you on how you can learn to attack. See, attacking is a challenge for anybody from any level. One of the main reasons is because it's easy to know how to make the winning combination, and it's difficult to lead a consistent attack and hope that maybe in the end, if you are good enough and if you're right with your calculations, you will manage to make it successful. It is quite of a challenge. And so I'd like to show you a game that was played between Obyhovsky and Gusev in 1975 in Leningrad. Not two famous players, but it's really nice to see exactly what actually Black did in this game to manage his attack so successfully. So let us have a look. Actually, the first thing that happened is that White started with e4, Black played e5, and now we have one of my favorite openings. I call that the two knights defense. It's a really favorite opening of mine because it is kind of easier to play. And one of the things that make it so special is that it has some really good counter-attacking opportunities. So from all that in mind, we get to realize how good this is for Black to develop and make his activity work. So White plays knight to g5 now. What's the concept of this move? Well, I would say that it's rather clear. I mean, the activity is going against the f7 point of Black. It's one of his weakest spots in the position. And if eventually White turns out a little more successful, you may just get some strong resources, some strong attacking stuff. So that's why Black blocks it. But it's important that he doesn't take the pawn. Taking the pawn on the d5 may be a little dangerous, as essentially White is going to get a piece to attack against, and that we'll call motive. Now, I really want to tell you what this is, and it's mostly because many people don't get to understand it so well. So let me try to explain a little more about what a motive is. Motive basically means something that we leave hanging, or bad, let's say. And it just remains out there as something that the opponent can exploit. We don't know if he's going to exploit it now or if he's going to exploit it in a few moves or a little bit later. He doesn't really, and I would say that it doesn't quite matter when he's going to exploit it, but you don't want to stay on that because you know that sooner or later this will prove to become a big problem, and this is not good. I mean, we don't want big problems. We want something stable. We don't want something easy to play. So with knight takes to the d5, this knight is really going to be hanging. So White can do a move like knight takes to the d, f7, king takes f7, queen f3 check. He's got the check going on. Our king moves, then he plays knight c3. That's why, you see, if you want to stay out of attacks yourself, and you want to be actually in a stable, good-looking, and comfortable position, you can try to go away from the motive. Now, Black chose to give away the pawn for one moment. I mean, not for long, but just for one moment. But he does something quite valuable. He helps to counter and drive away White's light square bishop. So if White goes on the b5, Black gets the initiative. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about what initiative is. People don't understand initiative. So they sort of think that initiative is just the way to attack. But actually the initiative is the highest range of attack. Initiative presents a sequence of attacking or forcing moves in a row that we make against our opponent, so that basically we don't give him time to control the game, consolidate, or just protect his position that well. That is what we call initiative. And so after c6, d takes to c6, you can see every single move starting with the move of d5, then now a5, then now c6. It's with an attack. So with every one of these attacking moves that we do, we expand our position. You need to remember, if you get the chance to constantly attack against your opponent, you get to expand your position. You get to make it more powerful. You get to make it stronger, while your opponent has to constantly protect himself. And this is a very important thing that we do. So there is like bishop to the d6 that can happen in that moment. There is as a matter of fact, there is d4, edicts to the d that we could do in this position. And so it's nice to see how the position is going to open. And when it does open, like White plays knight takes to the d3, queen c7, we have so much room and actions to attack that it really gives black the chance to fight even for more. Now the initiative helps us to get to one stage, and now when we got to this stage, I think we can get even to a more advanced position than that. So that's great. Okay, so white played d3 therefore, so that he avoids these threats. And now check what black did. He still makes the attack. Now, at which stage of the game we can actually do the attack? It's hard to say really, because it very much depends on the position. And yet, I would like to admit that as when you feel that you have enough power, or you're prepared, or you're well developed, or your opponent has an immediate weakness, this is a moment where you can begin trying for the initiative. You can begin creating problems. You can begin making it just harder for him to protect. So see what happened now. There was e4, and there was knight takes to the c, and bishop d6. Don't forget that you will need all your pieces into the play. So if you turned out to begin an early attack, which is okay, but usually not very preferable, you have to take the moment to come back and complete your development. So that's why the move of bishop to the d6 actually helps black to castle on the short side. And now, once the king is castled and we have all the pieces into safe and secure positions, we can continue with our attack, with our activity. Now, how do we continue with it? Well, again, we're looking at the most powerful moves in the game of chess. You'd probably wonder about what could be these most powerful moves. What are they? The most powerful moves in chess are the forcing moves. They happen to be the checks, the captures, the direct threats, those that give your opponent or leave him with the least amount of time to protect himself or stand well. So the checks, captures, and direct threats are essentially important. So anytime when you have the ability to do those, I'd recommend that you really think about these kinds of moves. So that's what we want to do now. Bishop g4 is with a direct threat. It doesn't make a check nor anything else, but it creates an attack, and that is key. After that attack has taken place, white has to continue defending, and it's getting even more difficult for him to do this. So for instance, after he plays the continuation of queen e3, there is rook e8. Yes, that's right. We said the rook right behind the pawn, but now comes the real secret to the attack. What is the real secret to attacking? The real secret to attacking lies in the ability, in the actual possibility to bring as many pieces as we can right on the area of the board where we'd like to attack against our opponent. And that's a real good thing to keep in mind. Why? It's simple. It's because if you can get more pieces directly where you're attacking, even if you don't know how, your possibilities will simply be much more than the ones of your opponent. And here is why. After h3, white tried to deal with this bishop, or make it go away at least, but it didn't quite work. Why is that? Because actually after the move of h3, black simply put his own bishop on f3. And now we see that this is a very dangerous move, and white cannot do anything about it. How could this be? Well, here it is. It's after we do the move of bishop f3. Should white capture it with his own pawn or the knight, we have e takes f3, and that's going to skewer both of these pieces, so this is really bad for him, and there isn't much you can do about it. The only thing you can do is castle. And now, that same thing that I said earlier about bringing more pieces works once more time. We can do knight g4. Is that bringing more pieces? I mean, it looks like it's giving away a new piece. Yes, it looks like it, but it's not. It's actually getting the chance to bring more forces into the play and setting another problem to white, which is now near his queen and the king at the same time. So it's really happening very quickly and very difficult. So I don't believe he can defend anyhow well. He has to move his own queen right back to the e1, and now that's a perfect idea for us. Why? Well, it is a perfect idea, as I said earlier, simply because of the resource that we can now bring over the queen. See, if you want your attack to become most successful, don't ever forget that it's all about bringing more pieces into the battle. If you can get to bring more pieces into the battle, you'll have more threats, you'll have more tactical things and activities. So we really do the move of queen h4. White plays knight takes f3, then a takes f3. Knight e4, bishop h2, Then black plays rook takes e4. Now why would that rook takes e4 be a good move? Well, it is a good move because it takes out the main defender. The knight was the only well-defending piece. And now we can actually take f2. We could attack him on g2 and g1. Two checkmating threats, which he can't stop, unfortunately. And he loses. You see, so the main element of the attack is the initiative, the forcing moves, and the ways how we can bring more pieces on the area where you attack. You'll probably wonder, okay, the bishop he couldn't take, but why didn't white take the knight? Well, it's because of a queen h4. He didn't take the knight because he knew that the queen is coming on h2, and there is nothing that he can do to stop it. If he takes, we attack his queen, and we go on to h2. If he plays g3, we just go to h1, and that's a checkmate. A beautiful example of how to lead an attack. So you learn the main steps, develop the pieces, prepare them, go with forcing moves, find a good target, and concentrate all your pieces there. When you're attacking, think about each of these little concepts, and you'll see how your attack can become very successful.